Hi, my name's Anna Jordan. I'm a playwright and a screenwriter and a director, and I've been sharing my writer's tips, survival tips on YouTube, but this is actually slightly different. So, I wanted to talk about my 3 point plan for being a happy and productive writer. That's right, just three things, a 3 point plan which guarantee happiness and productivity as a writer. Of course, they don't guarantee, but I sort of put this together in my head a couple of years ago, and it's really done me well to keep it into my mind. So I was actually on a podcast called In the Room, which is run by a couple of creatives who were students of mine quite a long time ago, and I had a lovely time on this podcast. And they asked me if there were any quotes that I sort of live my creative life by. And the first thing I said was, well, I always think about Lamott talking about shitty first drafts. And this is what Lamott has to say about shitty first drafts. All good writers write shitty first drafts. The first draft is the child's draft, the one where you let it all pour out and then let it romp all over the place, knowing that no one is going to see it and that you can shape it later. You just let this childlike part of you You just let this childlike part of you channel whatever voices and visions come through and onto the page. This is how you end up with good second drafts and terrific third drafts. So I just found that really freeing. I love Anne Lamott's writing. I found that so liberating and so freeing, this idea of embracing the scruffiness, the chaos, the shittiness of the first draft, and really understanding on a deep level that first draft is not to be shared with the world. It's not to be performed. It's not to be read. It is part of a process. It's a step. You can't get to draft 2 without draft 1. And so I found that really, really reassuring. And I enjoy knowing that. The second quote I pulled up was from the old BBC Writers' Room website. They used to have these pens and pencils running along the top of the screen with like little quotes on them. And one of them was, "Writing is rewriting." And I believe that was a quote by Paul Abbott. When I was first writing, I was quite arrogant. And I remember seeing that and thinking, well, that doesn't really apply to me, Paul. Because, I'm banging out these plays and like putting on the, performing the second, third drafts of them and stuff. I just kind of thought, yeah, I don't think that applies to everyone. But of course, it does. I know that now. Like, writing is absolutely about the rewriting, recrafting, the sort of chipping away and polishing and rearranging. That actually I really enjoy. So writing is rewriting. And then I realised in the moment on this podcast, which was really exciting, that, well, put shitty first drafts and writing is rewriting together, and that is all of writing. That is writing solved for you. If you can embrace both of those things, then that is the work. So I was really excited to discover that. And then I added one last, that's my cat, one last tip. And that was about turning up. Embracing shitty first drafts, writing is rewriting, and turning up. And, oh my God, Dora. And of course, turning up, by that I mean doing the work, sitting down, doing the writing. It's incredible how we can walk around and feel like writers and think like writers and worry like writers and think really creative things, but actually not do that much writing. So yeah, it's about turning up and putting in the hours, but it's also like, what does turning up mean for you? Like, over the years, I've discovered things about myself that I know I need to do or not do if it means I'm going to be able to be creative. drinking too much alcohol or taking drugs doesn't mix well with my creativity. And so that's something I need to not do in order to stay creatively at my best, like exercising regularly, yoga, etc. I mean, it sounds like a real cliche, but those are things that I know I need to do. For you, it might be getting out into the fresh air regularly. It might be making sure that you get a certain amount of sleep. But like, as writers, as artists, we have to make commitments, don't we, to create the sort of work that we want to create. And so what does turning up mean for you in order to be able to do your best creative work? So that's it. I've solved writing, basically. 3-point plan, embrace shitty first drafts, writing is rewriting, and you've got to turn up.